Willie D Live.
What's up, family? If it's your first time checking out the show, let me know what city, what state you're coming in from. If you're outside of the U.S., let me know what country you represent. Throw up your flag. Family, I need you to smash up the likes, smash up the likes, smash up the likes. Also, if you have not done so already on YouTube, after you subscribe, there's a little bell next to your subscribe button. Go ahead and click that thing right now so you can get your notifications each time I drop a new video like this. That way you'll be in the loop. I'll let a few hundred of y'all come in, then I'm going in. But in the meantime, in between time, I'm going to give some shots out to the early birds, starting with Dun, Dun, Dun. Joe, what's up? What it do? China Carter, China Carter. What's up, China? Badass. What's up? Bernard. What's up, Bernard? G for real. K Dallas, Cyrus, Sandra. Not Sandra, but Sandra. Miss Nats. What it do? Dwayne's World. What's up? What's up? What's up, Ray Ray? Brian Bridges. Rodney. What's up, Miami? BM Grip. Memphis versus everybody. Straight up. Who is that? Michelle Hayes. What's up, Windy City? Marcus Adams. Anthony McKinney. Lynn. What up, Lynn? Tyrone Turner. Tyrone Turner. Is that the homie Tyrone? Let's see. First Black Trauma Mary Jane, Kelvin, Tanya. What's good, DMV? One of my favorite areas and regions in the country to visit. What's up, Reginald? G Nass. Okay, fam. Okay, it's time. I'll come back to the comments. But it's time to go in. Donald Trump, your president, rambled about brown immigrants' bad genetics on Friday during a phone interview with Fox Friends host Brian Kilmeade. Trump complained about immigrants, how they should have never been allowed into the United States of America because, hey man, most of them are criminals and the others go bad. Yeah, man. You see, the brown people of the United States, they're marked. They're marked. They got a bad gene. Yeah, he said it. You don't believe it? Check it out.
Yeah, they shouldn't have been let in. Others are just bad. They go bad. Something wrong. There's something wrong there.
So
the genetics are not exactly. They're not exactly your genetic. It's one of those problems, Brian. It's a terrible thing, and it happens. And it happens too often.
So,
once again, family, when it comes to Donald Trump, every accusation is a confession. Yeah, man. How dare you say brown people are genetically inferior? How dare you say that brown people are the criminals of the world when we all know what the truth is? Brown people ain't going around invading nations and taking over and colonizing. We know who do that. Brown people didn't enslave people for hundreds of years. Brown people are not saying, let's go to war. Let's drop these bombs. Brown people ain't in the Epstein files. How about that? I know some of y'all saying, y'all, you going back too far, man. That's over. So, okay, let's talk about what's going on right now. Brown people are not in the Epstein files. You know who's in the Epstein files? People that look like Donald Trump, people that share his, who are closely associated to his genetic disposition. Yeah, man. Yeah. Ain't not one brown person. We're talking about, you know who's in the Epstein files? People who Donald Trump want to spare. The people who he think and his pappy and mammy thought was superior. See, it's people who they think are superior who's in the files. Let them tell it. They're the ones who should be out here procreating. We need to have more people like them. More people like them and less people like them. Let them tell it. Let Donald Trump and his mama and his daddy tell it. They come from a good family. They got the good genes. Good genes? Accused of raping dozens of women? And I haven't even gotten to the Epstein files yet. I'm talking about before he became president. Dozens. On audio recording, bragging about essaying women. He was ordered to pay a judgment, a multi-million-dollar judgment for essaying one woman. He's in thousands, tens of thousands of Epstein files, allegedly with young girls, underage girls, babies, 8, 9 years old. But let his family tell it, he got the good genes. If those are good genes, my genes must be superior. I must have the greatest genes on earth. Because I'd never. Let them tell it. They're the ones, let them tell it, the ones who are the slave, the enslavers, the colonizers, the essayers, the invaders, the pirates, the biggest thieves on planet that the planet has ever known. The most corrupt the planet has ever known. Let them tell it. Those are the good genes. No group of people has caused as much damage to the world, has committed as much crime, as much murder and mayhem as Donald Trump's people. Now that's a fact, Jack. That ain't me just talking. Some of y'all like ChatGPT. Look it up. That ain't me just talking. Who else go around just killing people and saying that, hey, man, we don't like your president, so we going to kill him, and then we going to pick a new president. Don't matter what the people think. They had one survey. Let me see if I can get this number right. I want to get this number right before I say it. Okay, here we go, fam. Okay. A 2025 study published in the Lancet Global Health estimates that unilateral economic sanctions, heavily driven by the United States and European Union, were associated with an estimated 38 million deaths worldwide between 1971 and 2021. The study, which analyzed sanctions impacts over 5 decades, concludes that these measures act as a silent war, causing a humanitarian toll comparable to that of armed conflict. So while many of these deaths, murders, were not a result of armed conflict, the United States, led by white men, levied sanctions against countries that it did not like, countries that did not want to bend over and take it raw, who didn't want to get on their knees and kiss the ring. They levied sanctions against those countries. They levied sanctions against those countries. And they starved the people. How they do it? Well, we're just going to block any trades coming to your country. And we're going to tell other countries not to do business with y'all. We're going to cut y'all off. So over time, at least 38 million people. And you know they normally grossly underestimate the real numbers. So they're saying it's 38 million. It could easily be 200 million, easily. So they're responsible for all of that death. The United States and Europe. White men running the show. See, some of y'all think because you don't see people in the streets in the U.S. chopping off heads, and you don't see a video of somebody chopping off a head or something like that, or just blowing somebody's brains out. Well, you see that all the time. But we don't see some of the barbaric stuff that go on in certain countries, like especially South America, right? We don't see some of the barbaric stuff that they do. We think that, somehow they're worse than we are. Even though we kill more people get killed in this country than any other country by their own citizens. If you would take a poll and you say immigrants versus U.S. citizens, if you say undocumented immigrants versus U.S. citizens, the number of U.S. citizens who commit crime is way up here versus undocumented immigrants who commit crime. I mean, the numbers is like this. It's like this. But see, they always have to have somebody to blame. They got to have somebody to blame. so that we don't look at what they're doing to all of us. So you got to blame it on somebody. They always got to find a fall guy. They can never accept responsibility. They got to always blame somebody. If they ain't blaming black folks, they blaming the immigrants. If they're not blaming the immigrants, they're blaming foreigners. They always got to blame somebody, anybody but themselves. Well, when it comes to parties, the party will blame another party. They'll do anything but accept. When's the last time you heard a government official or even the president say, "My bad, we're gonna make that right next time. You know, I want to apologize. I got that wrong. We're gonna do better." When's the last time you heard a politician apologize for being wrong? When's the last time you had heard the president, anybody in his cabinet, say, "Hey, we miscalculated that, man, yeah, that was bad. That was bad, and I take full responsibility." Oh, no, that was good. I take full responsibility, but that's bad. Hell no, I ain't taking no responsibility for that. That's bad. They not finna blame me. Can't have them blaming me. That's the way they rock. Donald Trump got some damn nerve calling somebody else out saying they have bad genetics. Again, every accusation that comes from him and his cabinet is a confession. The reporter should have fact-checked him right in his face, but he didn't have the balls to do it because he was too busy swinging from Donald Trump's disco balls. He should have said, "You know what, Mr. President?" He was so afraid. You could tell the way he spoke. The way he spoke, you could tell that he knew what Trump was saying was a lie, but he can't challenge Trump. They don't challenge him. You never hear Fox News challenge him. They're cowards. And very, very few other reporters would challenge him. Straight up cowards. They're cowards. This dude got multiple settlements of RAP, multiple accusations of SAN women and girls, multiple. He's in the Epstein files more than Epstein is in the files. He calls brown people genetically bad people. But he's not racist. See, he's saying he's not Nazi. He's not a Nazi. Trump admired more. He admired more about Adolf Hitler than he's willing to admit. He admires more about Adolf Hitler than just his war antics. He admires Adolf Hitler thoughts on genetics. Remember, Adolf Hitler killed Jews because he said that they were inferior. They were genetically inferior. Now, this is what I want to know. Since Trump is so dead set on immigrants being so horrible, I wonder what he thinks about his kids that came from his first wife, Ivana, an immigrant. What about those bad genetics in his 3 kids? You know, he had 3 kids from him. They have her genetics and his. What about Melania? She's an immigrant. What about her and her son? You know, her son dropped $30 million on oil stocks 2 days before Trump bombed Iran. Coincidence or inside trading? I don't know, fam. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. I just heard about it, and I'm just, repeating what I heard. I don't really know what the truth is. But the bottom line, though, is that this isn't new information. Trump has always spoken like this about genetics. He said something like this a couple of years ago when he talked about how immigrants, undocumented immigrants, had bad genetics. And he's talking about, I think he was in the state of Montana, and he was talking about, you got good genetics. Y'all have good genetics. You know something about genetics here. You got good genetics. It's always seemed like to me the most uncivilized mutts in the country who speak the most about purifying the blood of Americans, getting rid of the weak and, getting rid of those who are poor and downtrodden and only keeping the ones who are, allegedly smart. They don't want to just do that. They want to keep white people. They don't care. They want to keep white people point blank, period. And they want to get rid of everybody else. Conveniently, after everybody else built the country, but starting with black people, we built the country. Don't ever forget that. We built it. We absolutely built it. Don't ever forget that. So whatever y'all enjoy about America, you can thank black folks. And I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, Willie D, man, you don't like that. You don't like America. You need to just go. You need to go somewhere. You need to just go to one of them countries you love so much. You need to go back to Africa. You better not be white saying that, because white people have been overstaying their visas since 1492. You better not be white telling me something about going back to Africa. See, so here's the deal. So what I speak is I just speak truth, right? I'm going to call a strike, and a ball, a ball. So you might not like me. You might not like what I'm saying, but you can't tell me, you can't call me a lie. You can't say I'm lying. You can't say I'm lying. And if you don't like me because you don't like what I'm saying and you know I'm not lying, something is wrong with you. It ain't me, it's you. But I get it. Some of y'all self-entitled. Well, many of y'all are self-entitled. You think the world revolves around you. You think you can control everything, you dominate everything. You think people are supposed to kiss your ass, bow down to you. You got the wrong one this time. Trump saying that, saying this about brown people's genetics says a lot, when even the guy who wanted to execute the homeless was clearly concerned about Trump saying the quiet part out loud. You remember that dude, Brian, the Fox host, the guy who was interviewing Trump when he made the genetics comments. That dude said he thought it was cool to execute homeless people. He said he thought it was cool to execute homeless people. And he's sitting in a chair with millions of people tuning in and watching him every day. These are the uncivilized mutts who have been elevated in our society. have been elevated to the highest office. See, we can't be surprised about anything that Trump says. Remember the other day, he said shit. Man, I'm telling you, the president of the United States is giving a speech and he says, nobody can get away with the shit that I do. But the president, man. And look, it has become such a normalized thing that, it makes the news, but there's no real consequences. And people aren't even surprised. They're not even surprised when he says the things that he says. Trump is at a stage, mark my words, fam. Trump is at a stage in his life where he can no longer control his emotions. He cannot control his mind anymore. He cannot control his mind anymore. Whatever inner thoughts that he have, he just speaks them. Whatever he's thinking, he just blurts it out. I want to see a reporter have the guts to ask him one day, man, just be straight up with it, man. What's your choice between a younger woman and an older woman? What's that age? What's your age limit? What's your age limit? Who would you find more attractive? Yeah, I don't know what old Trump was thinking, fam. Like, to say what he said, but a pair of lips to say anything. But for him to say what he said, it's almost like if you're guilty of something, you try to make sure you not like say that out loud so you don't have any unnecessary attention focused on you. That's what a normal person would do. That's what a normal person would do. But to talk about genetics in relation to crime, for him as a white man to talk about genetics in relation to crime, he must ain't read white history. He must not have read his ancestors' history. That's right. Trump can't read. He can't read. He memorized stuff. I know y'all be thinking he be reading those prompters, but he don't read that. He memorized it. Yeah, he got a Jay-Z memory like that. Like Jay-Z be remembering them rhymes. That's how Trump do. He remember those speeches. He just kind of go in, they say when he look at the teleprompter, it's like a blur. It's almost like when he try to read it, if he try to read it come out like Charlie Brown's teacher. Wah, 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 wah. Yeah. So yeah, fam, Trump, he's got to be off his rocker. He's lost his mind for sure. He absolutely must not have read white history because it's all throughout white history. It's all in there. Ain't nobody in the world, there ain't a race nowhere close. There's no ethnic group anywhere close. White folks they be doing it. Boy, they've put a gap between them and everybody else when it comes to crime that'll never be closed. Man, if this country went around the globe, if this thing lasted for another 10 million years, it'll never get that close. I'm talking about killing everything. Even right now. He must not be watching the news or something when he's seeing all these dudes running up in here, these mass shooters killing everything. Those are white dudes. Those are not no undocumented immigrants. But of course, if they see but this is what they do. They wait on one white person. They wait on one person who's an undocumented immigrant to commit a crime, maybe two, and they use that one or two immigrants as a representation of everybody. See, what some white people do, not all, some, what some white people do is they use their own, they elevate their own, they use our worst as an example of who we are collectively. And they use undocumented immigrants' worst as an example of who they are collectively. And white people use their best as an example of who they are collectively. That's the trick. Let's elevate our best and make that our best an example of who we are collectively. And then let's focus on their worst and say that's who they are collectively. So we can focus on their worst and go hard on them when it comes to crime and punishment. And any type of disrespect that we levy toward against them, hey man, hey, they deserve it because they just a bad people. Now, what's interesting is some of the immigrants, some of the undocumented immigrants who are being deported, they don't like black people. They came here not liking black people because they drank the Kool-Aid that this government and our media, our mainstream media, served them. They drank the Kool-Aid. So they think that they're better. They came here being disrespectful and thinking they were better. All I can say is, same thing make you laugh and make you cry. That's my time, fam. I appreciate y'all joining live. Until next time, enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. China Carter, China Carter. No more talk.